So this is the story about why we decided to move out of the city and into the country. So in the fall of 2019, I decided that I wanted to do a garden the following spring. So spring 2020, I started a garden in our backyard, which was just a city lot, a little bit less than a quarter of an acre, with your standard chain link fence and neighbors on all sides and behind us. And I also wanted to get chickens. So I looked into the codes and everything for our area and what we were allowed to have, and did our research on chickens because I didn't know too much about them, and went to Tractor Supply and got a few chickens. So I asked my husband if he would build me a small chicken coop for them in our backyard. Okay, well, he's never at this point built a chicken coop before, but he's very intelligent, and he's done a lot of different things, projects around our previous house with repairs and stuff. So he's perfectly capable of doing it. He just, had never built one before. Well, once he starts researching and deciding what he wants to do, he decides he wants to build something once and not have to build it again. Because you could go the cheap route and just use pallets or something like that, but then it's going to end up not lasting, and it's going to, fall apart, and then you're going to have to build it again. So he wants to do it once and do it right. Well, we also have been doing our research about how there's hawks and owls and, possums, raccoons, neighborhood dogs that could get to your chickens. So he makes sure to find the best materials, hardware cloth instead of chicken wire and all that. And he wants to make it really sturdy. Well, his project turns into, a small chicken coop and run into an 8-foot by 20-foot coop with a run attached, so that we know the chickens are safe. And he finishes building it, and at this point, my garden has expanded basically as much as I could in the small backyard we have. I have no more room between the garden and the chicken coop that he's finished. And I tell him, hey babe, I think we probably should start looking for land because we don't have enough space here. And I want to get rabbits, and I've been thinking about wanting to get pigs, and I'd like to get a cow. And of course, I know that we can't have any of those things in the city. We're allowed to have our chickens and our ducks, and that's as far as we can take it. So we start looking for land, and we don't find what we're looking for at this point. So this is when we were starting a new growing season, and I was like, okay, let's get a dump truck load full of like potting soil mixed with compost, and I'll put stuff in grow bags, because also in Southeast Texas we get a lot of rain, and my in-ground bed, my in-ground garden was starting to not do so great just because of all the rain we were getting. It was affecting the crops. And then the back part of our garden had a big tree right there. Well, we have neighbors all around us. It's not that simple to just take this tree down without possibly either costing a lot of money to have a professional do it, or possibly damage one of the neighbors' houses, or their fence. So I can't fully even utilize my entire garden because we don't have enough sunlight. We have, the rain is affecting it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get some grow bags. We'll get the soil, and I'll just grow in them for right here and for right now. And then at a later time when we find land, then we'll move. Well, as soon as we get all of the soil into all the raised beds and into the grow bags, we get seeds going. plants are starting to come up. And of course, you know how it works. That's when we found our new property. So we look online, find some people that have some free feed sacks, from chicken feed and everything. We get a whole bunch of those, and we put all of the soil that we just bought into feed bags. We buy a metal, like, poultry pen for the chickens, because we realize, of course, we have to take the coop apart. This is when the lumber prices started going sky high, and there's no way we're just gonna, leave the chicken coop and run, especially if it's gonna just be torn down, because, who's to say that the people moving in next are gonna actually, have chickens, because a lot of people in town don't. So this is when we had to start taking apart the chicken coop, getting all of the garden ready, packing the entire house, all while working full time. And it paid off in the long run, because if my husband had not made such a large chicken coop and run, then I probably wouldn't have got as many chickens as I did, because of course, if I had a small chicken coop, I would have just had a few chickens. But he built me a huge one, so I wanted more chickens. And like I said, the price of lumber had went up, but we didn't have to build a new coop and run when we moved. We were able to just take it apart in big sections, put it in a 26-foot moving truck. My strong teenage boys helped greatly with all of the heavy lifting. They did a great job with helping to move all the soil, all of our garden, move all the parts to the coop and the run, and they helped to put it back together, even after they had helped to build it the first time. They're some amazing kids, and very blessed to have them. So that's our story of why we decided to move out of the city. We wanted to be able to grow our own food and raise our own animals for food, and we wanted to stop having to rely on a grocery store and on a broken system where you don't know where your food's coming from, you don't know how it's raised, the animals, you don't know even, you hear about salmonella in lettuce, so, and not only that, but when we had all these shortages of not being able to find stuff at the grocery store, that was also a big wake-up call. So I believe that we moved at the right time, and I believe we're where we're supposed to be now. Thanks for watching.